Hey folks, Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Let's talk breathing for a minute. Now, we know how important it is to have secure comms and food and water, but the one thing that we all overlook is our ability to breathe. Most of us will last about 60 seconds, and at that point, it's lights out. And so Werx has partnered with an affiliate program with Mira Safety, and they are the best mask producers on the planet, as well as everything else they make. We made it easy for you. If you just hold your camera up to the barcode here below me in the banner, it'll take you straight to their site. They have a special going right now on all their masks. It's a Labor Day sale that 20% off on everything. All you do is enter the code Labor Day Mask at checkout, and you'll get that 20% off. If you're not familiar with the products, let me just show you the stuff that they have. It is absolutely amazing. The CBRN mask, those are going to be most of your critical path stuff. That is... if you're not familiar with that acronym, that is chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear gas mask, okay? They make them for children. They make them for babies. And, oh, yes, they make them for pets. I just bought my 2 dogs the thing called the Arc, which is an amazing system that they even came up with. This is just, it's stellar. So, anyway, they also have extra filters, hazmat suits, all kinds of different kits, and a bunch of different accessories. Like I just bought a state-of-the-art Geiger counter that is insanely amazing. So anyway, just again, just hit that barcode over here on the bottom of the banner, and that will take you straight into that site. And it is 20% off today on all their gas masks. So jump in there and get what you need for you and for your family. You will be thankful you did it. That's it. God bless. Monkey out. All right, folks. Hey, welcome. Mil-Spec Ops Monkey here. Going to be our SITREP. It is around 11 a.m. Central Time, coming to you live from the Monkey Lounge here in the great state of Texas. Got a lot to cover today, and I will tell you every indication that I am seeing from the news cycles, and that's the main, not the mainstream media stuff, but the things that are like, you know, military news, etc. We're headed to war, and you got to make sure you're ready when this goes south, because there is no one on the planet right now that is de-escalating anything. In fact, everybody seems to be just pushing all the chips onto the board, ready to roll. So we're going to cover a couple things. It is a Labor Day weekend, and so some of the flights are a little lighter than usual. Got some interesting ones, too, we're going to look at. Let's start out over here on the mini board in Skyglass, as always. You're going to see that we have the air refuelers up very little, and actually, I think we've got about 36 aircraft up in the sky today. Again, it's Labor Day weekend, but over DC, as always, that's because that's where Flashbang currently is located. Looks like some transitions. I'm noticing a couple headed out, like this one, for example, looks to be headed out in this general area, which tells me we probably have some fighter presence out here. All right. When you start to see them working out toward the ocean side or moving out a little further, it is because they are usually moving some fighters around, okay? And so a perfect example are these right here. When you see these air refuelers starting to come out, notice that they're headed down a little further south, kind of out in the open Atlantic, probably because we have some fighters that are being transferred either back or over across the drink. So again, another indicator. And then the Italians are actually out here doing some stuff too. So anyway, it's just a data point for all of us, but very interesting when you start to see them moving the fighters across the drink. That kind of tells you they're taking things to the next level. Okay. All right, let's do this as, in fact, let me see something here. I see a couple F-16s that are showing that's a pretty rare form. And let's see where they are. They look to be over Germany and over kind of the water there between Germany and England. And so, yeah, these are a couple of Viper 1 and, yeah, Pretty neat. You don't see them in Weasel 01. Don't see those very often, if ever, okay? All right, let's go through. We're going to look at the watch list real fast. Just notice there are a lot of things moving. We got Air Force 2 actually headed westbound. And then let's see what else we got. Some survey flights, priority air transport stuff. A lot of survey flights. So we're going to take those off the screen here so you could see them not in your way. And then we'll just look at what else is up. And let's see. This, I think, is a LaSalle aviation aircraft. That's an intelligence bird, if I'm not mistaken. And then this one here is actually a Spec Ops bird for the Canadians. They're up in that neck of the woods again. That little ELW01 you see, I don't know what that is. It's at a negative 900 in terms of altitude off the East Coast. Been sitting there forever and a day. The GAFs are going to be your intel balloons. That right there is a gray bird, right? That's going to be your agency boys, okay? And then looks like a little Navy P-8. Forte 10 Q4 drone out over the Black Sea. It's 108, I think, nautical miles or something northwest of, actually 108 miles northwest of Turkey. So, okay, let's see. And then we've got this one here that just looks to be an air refueler by the Italians. And then down low, another, again, doing some drone recon work out over the Mediterranean there, north of Tripoli and Benghazi. Okay, now let's go over to the survey flights. A little lower, it's about 154, which is about 30 less than we normally see over a 3-day period. But just notice you've got them down headed into Serbia, which I thought was really interesting data point. To the right up on the border in Poland and Belarus. And then near our military base there near Poznan. And then look at the Netherlands and Belgium, still continuing to fine-tune their data. And then we've got this one over the water. I really don't know what's in the water there, folks, that they are continuously surveying or grabbing data, but something is down there that they have a lot of concerns about because it is a regular flight. And then we get down here to Australia, and let me zoom in a little bit. I got a little high on the altitude side, but just notice the area that seems to be the biggest concentration is down near in Victoria and Melbourne. And that, or is that? Yeah, I think that's, well, it's the southern side. I didn't get a good look at that. I think that's Melbourne, maybe Sydney. But anyway, that's the locations, Brisbane, and then, of course, Perth, as always. But they seem to be repolishing the data there on the southern tip of Australia, which tells me the AI has already processed everything. They're coming back over and painting that canvas a little better. Down in hill country there in Texas, same thing here in New Mexico. All right. When we get out west coast, nothing going on over at Los Angeles. It's kind of strange. Looks to be migrated up to the north. Again, I think they're polishing the data. Think of it as a canvas, and they're just coming back in and putting in those final strokes that really clean up and make that very clear in terms of that 3D image that the LiDAR is creating. Same thing, they're going back over the same areas. Look at D.C. again. It makes you wonder what is in Washington, D.C. that they are really, really securing and making sure everything is right. Right? You got a lot of military operations. You got our capital. You got a lot of different things up there that they have to have dialed in if we have some type of a battle situation, right? In Tampa, Florida, that area, that's a pretty big one. I mean, if you really kind of think about that, that's a big populace there for us, right? All right, let's go over to, let's see, I did grab some drone data just to show you, again, Benghazi, Tripoli. That's an area that the Russians are very heavy in. And then notice again, looks like we kicked off to the left and not to the right towards Serbia and Croatia, that area. And then, of course, the Turks are also running their own thing. Now, I'm going to run this all the way up. I don't know where this goes, but it is a direct straight shot out over the water, very far north. Makes you wonder what is up there. We're just going to continue to drag and drag until it stops way, way north. So I don't know what they were looking at, but they took a trip all the way up there and all the way back. So probably the Russians out over the water, if I had to guess. And then one little deal here over this part of the woods. D.C. getting a close look there too. All right. So, all right, we're going to jump into Flashbang and what he's got going on. And I will point out one thing. You may remember this is the same site we use. They're super left-leaning. I hate to even use them, but it is a calendar. It gives us an idea of where Flashbang and everybody else are up to and where they're headed. But when Trump was in office, they actually had on the docket here the amount of days he played golf. All right. That has since disappeared. But the interesting thing is, and we've talked about this in the past, here it is. On the same day, it's over on Blaze News. On the same day, report finds Biden spent 40% of his presidency on vacation. And it says he hasn't had the occasion to actually, or the opportunity to go to East Palestine. So, yeah, this guy doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of making it the next election. I think he feels like he's a shoo-in because of what happened last time. But even, we won't even go there. Okay. But nonetheless, 40% of his presidency, he's been on vacation, right? And like I said, we've talked about that in the past. But can you imagine if this was Trump and taking 40% of his time off on vacation, right? Like I said, they pointed out how many days he played golf. But this is ridiculous. They're not even talking about it. All right. Okay. Well, this is the result of it all. Not that he has that much swing in it, but his bad policy is really what's driving all of this. The good old Bidenomics, right? But U.S. job openings declined to 8.83 million, the lowest since early 2021. This is just kind of go through it. It said that the U.S. job openings fell in July by more than expected to a more than 2-year low, offering fresh evidence that the labor demand is cooling. The number of available positions decreased 8.83 million, down from 9.17 million in June. And basically, it marked this is your big takeaway right here. It marked the 6th decline in the last 7 months. All right. So from a graphic perspective or a data point, we are definitely headed down, down, and down. So, and then let's see, before we hit that, I do want to point out another data point for you. I pulled this up because I thought it was important, but because when you start talking about, war as an economy, what happens when all of these, we go into these recessions, or what drives these recessions? Here's the thing that we just need to all remember, and I pulled this off of, I basically just Googled it and grabbed it, okay? United States has experienced 34 recessions since 1854. The Great Depression was the worst economic downturn in history, and the Great Depression lasted from 1929 to 1939, and by 1933, 15 million Americans were unemployed, 20,000 companies went bankrupt, and a majority of Americans' banks failed. You remember that one, okay? But a lot of this stems from wars, right? So the economy also faced a recession after World War I, in addition to World War II, which lasted 3 years from 1918 to 1921. Stock prices collapsed by the end of 1919, and factory employment dropped 30% from 1920 to 1921. This is what we're already seeing. A lot of those same leading indicators that things are starting to slow. Factory production is down. The supply chain has all but crumbled. I mean, we watch the lack of stuff that's coming across the drink from China, which means cheap stuff is going away. Inflation is going up. The only thing that's even keeping our numbers looking somewhat promising is the fact that they are on the war footing, where they are producing artillery and all kinds of different things to go to war. That's why I said war is coming, and you better be ready, because once it starts, this country will no longer look like it looks in the last 8 decades. So this is actually what we are going to be, I guess, facing. Putin puts his longest range nuke-capable missile on combat duty. Its nickname is Satan II. It carries around 15 warheads and up to 750 kilotons. The bomb the U.S. dropped on Hiroshima was 15 kilotons, if that puts anything in perspective for you. The other piece and big takeaway is the fact that this thing can travel They say up to 16,000 miles per hour, which is a hypersonic weapon. So let's just look at what that would be if you were to hit this over Los Angeles. All right. And so this, let's see, 100 megaton USSR. That's what we're looking at on the screen. You can see the blast radius on that one, but the 800 kiloton right here, and we'll hit the detonate. That'll take you to about almost 500,000 people that die. Yeah, over 500,000, 582,000. And you can see the blast radius if that were to take place. That's an air burst. If you did surface burst on this, it's going to really be a little less, but yeah, actually the blast radius doesn't change too much. It does change in terms of fatalities, about just under 400,000 people, 600,000 injured. So that is what it would look like if you hit that on Los Angeles. And in a perspective of U.S. versus that, U.S. Arsenal Minuteman III missile, 350 kilotons, so it's about half the size of that Satan II missile, all right? Okay, let's move on. As we're talking about the volatility going on around our economy and the world economies, just notice this is up a little bit from where it was the other day when we were talking, or just recently. In July, it was down to 959, really, really low. And in June, it was down to 918, which is a super low level. But this is an indicator on the health of cargo moving around the planet, really. And when it is down, that means people aren't buying as much and not consuming as much, all right? Okay, let's see. Let's talk about our other moment. As I say, you know, war is an economy. U.S. approves a $1.5 billion in armored vehicles to Bulgaria. These are going to be Stryker units, and that is because Bulgaria just promised Ukraine 100 armored personnel carriers. It's all basically a large stock of Soviet weaponry. Bulgaria is very pro-Russia, has been for quite some time, but the fact that they're getting some of our equipment in is kind of a game changer for them. You can see the different outfits this thing can put on. You can mount guns and all kinds of different things, but this is what a Stryker unit looks like. You can see here, this one has the gun mount on it. And let's move on. Yeah, this one I found very interesting. Russia claims it destroyed 4 U.S.-made military boats heading towards Crimea. Boats were carrying Ukrainian landing groups to that particular area. These, if you're not familiar with them, this is the same kind of boat that SEAL Team 6 guys use, or a lot of our Special Forces guys, all right? The fact that they were caught out over the Black Sea, headed into Crimea at night, you know, this is what this thing looks like. You can imagine in all black and that little black rubber boat, pretty hard to spot. It's not a big footprint, all right? And so lights out, headed in. Looks like they were trying to perform some type of spec ops mission and got caught riding dirty. All right, let's go to the NOTAMs. Big takeaway here is just the fact that Europe and most of that area is covered up in NOTAMs. We have the usual stuff off of our east and west coast in terms of danger boxes. That hasn't changed at all. But just, you know, you're looking at the war footing. This whole area is starting to go hot. All right. Okay. Now, this is a very cool video, just a little bit of a palate cleanser for you as we look at what's going on. The F-35, this guy basically just trimming the trees as he takes off out of Boeing Field. I got it on video. This is a F-35A. Check this out. We'll back it up and give you the sound and everything. So here we go. As he has that max climb. To put that in perspective, if you're you know, familiar with the F-35 and the power that that thing has, you can see that max climb. Normally, if they have an F-16 chase aircraft that's flying with them, they'll be on full mil power on the F-35, and the F-16 will actually be on full afterburners just to stay up with that F-35. That's how fast that thing is. So pretty amazing single-engine jet in terms of speed and capability. Anyway, a little palate cleanser for you. All right, let's take a look at what's going on over here at Biggs Army Airfield. Notice we've got an influx of OAE, which is the Omni, the Eastern Airlines And 767s seems to be the flavor. This one goes back to Perot Field at Fort Worth Alliance, but these are coming in from Kansas, Columbia. Don't know where they're headed, but could be troops. It could be immigrant related. I think we're seeing a big rotation right now in terms of immigrants, okay? All right, over to Dover, see if we have anything. We have one 747 coming in from JFK. Everything else looks to be kind of small aircraft related. And that Kaletta bird looks to be headed to Ramstein, Germany. And then another one coming in from Newark. And Amerijet 767 coming in from Miami. All right, over to Ramstein. And we've got a C-17 on the docket. Camber flight, Navy Logistics, and an Atlas Air coming in Baltimore, Washington. One from Dover, we just looked at that. Another C-17 down there, more than likely on that reach. Falcon 26, that's probably an F-16. And then, which again, you don't see those very often. Kaletta going to Destination Unknown, and it looks like that Navy bird's headed to Catania, and that one's headed over to Terceira. That's going to be a spar flight, blue and white dignitary, departing out of Ramstein, headed back. That's going to be a fuel stop there, more than likely, all right? Okay, then let's see, German Air Force. Just thought I'd throw them in a little flavor, change it up some. Coming out of Hamburg, and let's see, Eindhoven, all right? And so they were actually pretty active earlier this morning, but yeah, looks, just a different look for us, but they've been very, very active as of late. We'll start to watch them and see what they're up to, where they're headed. Okay, and then this is going to be your forward operating base. I tried to dovetail that German Air Force in right behind Ramstein, okay? But this is RZE Poland, again, forward operating base. There you have it on the board, German Air Force inbound. And let me see if I've got anything else catches my eye. Very, very light today. Again, there they go, bailing out of there to Berlin. That's German Air Force. The Brits headed back to England. Yeah, not seeing anything else. Very, very light. All right. Well, let's get over to Constanta. Again, this is the only port we have operating in the Black Sea region. It is a key location for our deep state, all right? Brio 68, that's going to be your intel bird. Looks like that thing is located there. Little Navy logistics bird in and out. But Brio looks to be, yeah, looks like it just popped up and came back. So went out, did a little recon, came back and landed. But looks like that's where that one is housed for the moment. And Transportation Command, I got nothing on the board. That's pretty unusual, but it is a holiday. And then, of course, we go look at the Brits. They've got about 6 flights up. They are all over the place, coming in and out of Canada. And then, of course, we've got them in and out of Europe as well as the Middle East. Okay. Let's go over to NATO, and nothing on the board. We did have one that was up, came out of Norway out here, headed southbound. Omni, again, serving many, many masters. That's 2 flights that are currently up. Looks like we've got one coming out of Sofia and the other out of Colorado Springs, headed to Baltimore. All right, National Cargo is going to be a 747. Anchorage to Chicago O'Hare. That's probably bringing in some artillery. And then Western Global, it looks like they got the day off today. Not seeing anything from them. And then, of course, our immigrant machine spooled up. Looks like a lot of trips in and out of Cuba, down to Central America. And then a couple looks to be headed in from Columbus, Georgia, down to the border, Harlingen. So that's probably Amazon, if I had to guess. Or maybe taking some folks to New Home out there. And then these right there, southern border into the interior of our country to CVG. Again, that's probably moving some immigrants out to this location. All right. And so last week when we finished up, we actually had looked at this particular spot. This is going to be the Jenna aircraft 625. That's going to be probably your director of the DOJ. Looks like he was headed out of the East Coast, headed to the West Coast, where he currently is right now, L.A. Don't know what's going on out there, but that is where, actually, sorry, I take that back. He has returned from L.A., so that's where he went, back to D.C. So looks like he did a round robin there. All right, listen, that's going to do it for our SITREP today, folks. We will catch you on Wednesday with our regular stuff. And eyes on the skies, man. It's a good time to stay frosty and keep that powder dry. We'll talk soon. God bless. Monkey out. Thanks for watching, folks. Check out the latest gear and products over at monkeywerxus.com.